It looks like we're live, Jax.
All right. Well, hello everybody. My name is Jaxler, and we are about to embark on what I can only describe as a spiritual experience together. This is Neopets, the Darkest Faerie, and just to clear this up, yes, this game exists. This is a PS2 action adventure game that was released, I want to say, in 2004, 2005 or so. Before we start the run, I just want to apologize in advance because I'm about to make this game look really, really bad. Some people don't like the game. I like the game personally, but we're about to break this game over our knee. I'm joined by a Corundum Core here on commentary.
How's it going, everyone?
And he's going to be helping me out in some spots that are a bit tricky. So this is going to kind of snowball out of control here. So buckle in. This is going to be a bit of a wild ride this evening. So I'll do start time on the 3, 2, 1, go. So 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so one thing that we need to address right away, because it's probably on everyone's mind, yes, this game is congruent with the Neopets lore. This game is canon, so I thought that I would just put that out there. We'll try to explain plot details as we can, but we're going to be skipping a lot of them.
So right off the bat, we're going to be ignoring the chores that we're supposed to be doing with our sister, and we're going to be going into this secret area to pick up a little bit of...
Yeah, a little bit of money here. So it's actually a little bit random how much we get here, so let's see what we get. Okay, let me just double check to make sure that's enough. I think that should be fine. We can get some backup if it's not. Ooh, that was a little weird. So we're gonna hop back out of here now and make our way up here. So we like to joke that all of this game's speed tech is a budget version of something from a Zelda speedrun. So now we're gonna go set up for what we like to jokingly call the budget forest escape. If you've played this game casually, somehow, you might remember how you have to do a bunch of chores and do all this stuff. But if I turn around here and jump, oh, nice, I got the no look. Now we're out of bounds. You can just grab that ledge. And now we're falling out of bounds. So what I need to do here is hold a very specific line, because out of bounds is kind of funky in this game, where if you hit certain spots, it will cause part of the map to load in. And there's another part of the farms area that we don't want to load in because it won't allow us to reach the next area. So doing this out of bounds lets us escape our family farm and our indentured servitude and allows us to get on to the next part of the game here.
One of the side effects of us, sure thing. One of the side effects of us doing this out of bounds is that we're skipping the part where we're supposed to get a weapon. So we're going to have to, the reason why we're picking up Neopoints early is that we're going to need 500 Neopoints in order to buy a iron sword. And until then, we're just going to be running around hoping not to get hit because we can't really fight back.
Yeah. So you saw me do something there kind of interesting called an upwarp. The way out of bounds works in this game is that if the game thinks that there's a surface that you should be standing on and you're on the lowest plane or whatever, it'll try to warp you on top of that surface. So we use that to our advantage there to gain height and get back in bounds. So now we're going into a side area here. If you played this game for 5 minutes, you may actually remember this little side quest. There's a nobleman from Brightville, I think it is, that got his caravan ransacked, and so we're gonna steal back his golden rose, because that's what I think of when I think of romance. He's gonna swipe at me. Oh, nice! I got a damage boost. So I have to be pretty careful there, just to. Oh, can he deboost me too? Oh, unfortunate. Okay. So we got the gold rose because when we give it back to the noble dude, he gives us some money. So that's just the next fastest way to get some extra cash. I'm a little bit worried about our money count though. So
I think he gives you 300 Neopoints, right?
350.
I think
yeah.
You
so
have
here he is.
186.
Oh, okay. We're fine then. All right. So he gives us 350. Let's just double check. Yeah, I have 518. Yeah, it costs 500 to purchase the sword, so we're good. We also had something funny happen called the awkward music glitch. That's what we call it because I couldn't think of a better name. Sometimes when you do the out of bounds stuff, it breaks the game so hard that no music plays. And if you get really lucky, it'll keep the reverb effect from the cave in this open area, and it sounds really funky. But we just got the standard awkward music glitch. So we're going to be heading towards Mirrodale right now. What you're going to see me do here is jump into this thing called a moat. Whenever you pick up a moat for the first time, it displays a couple of text boxes. So by jumping into it, you skip those text boxes for whatever reason. So normally you're supposed to come to Mirrodale after you finish the tutorial to deliver a parcel somewhere in town. And this the game just assumes that if you reach this spot to play this cutscene, because how else would you have gotten there? Turns out it's not that hard. So this cutscene is also going to sound really funny because there's no like music or audio going on. So all of like the Neopet grunts aren't going to go off or anything like that. And this parcel is going to mysteriously appear in midair, which we were supposed to get, but now it just materializes in front of the thieves here. So we actually have to do this because a couple areas in Mirrodale are closed until we retrieve the parcel from the thieves here. So we got a little bit of a walking segment to do.
One of the things that you're going to see Jax do is when he runs by any of these NPCs, he's going to do what's called an NPC boost. So you jump, hold L2, which is like a combat strafe, and talk to the NPC, and if you're lucky, you kind of get boosted like you just saw. So the placement of the NPCs is a little bit RNG, so we're hoping for good NPC placement to run off of. Yeah, he's behaving really weirdly right now.
I got so far ahead of him that his AI glitched out. Too fast. So going into this FMV cutscene, we'll reset the music glitch, so you'll get to hear the Mirrodale theme, which is kind of good because honestly, this game's music is pretty solid. Right here, I'm gonna do what's called a drown warp. So in most areas, when you drown in a body of water, it will warp you to a default location, and it happens to be that dock. And so doing that drown warp right there just reduces some of the backtracking we have to do. So you also saw me earlier menu on top of the leaf moat. There's a quick menu using the down on the D-pad that lets me quick select during combat and stuff. I just do it in advance to save on menuing, but we're gonna go to the weapon shop here and grab the iron sword like a true Minecrafter.
We should probably talk a little bit about the moats. So they're basically buffs that you can apply on your sword or on your shield. And it's basically like Pokemon elemental types and things like that. So it deals extra damage to enemies that are the super effective type, I guess. So Leaf Moat is going to be useful against, I don't know, enemies that are weak to Leaf.
Yeah, a couple of the enemies in this arena here. So you are intended to and required to visit the arena here because the reward you get for completing the first fight is the shield, the very first one. And normally the game pulls a Mito on you and is like, you can't access the rest of the game until you have a sword and shield. But we're not worried about that reason, but we do need a shield in order to beat the game in a couple of spots. And it's also going to help us with some of the fights later on. So this rogue guy is kind of random. Oh, he gave me a decent pattern there. That's actually good. So I literally knocked him through solid brick and mortar there because this game is awesome. And I'm a total king here. So we get the wooden Kokiri shield, as you see here, with a slightly different coat of paint. And now that we have the shield, we have access to a really cool technique called shield canceling. Chronom, do you want to explain how that works?
Yeah, so basically when you do your attack combo, it's 3 swings of the sword, and then you're supposed to be, you have kind of a lag animation, end lag to the 3rd swing. But if you take out your shield, it cancels that end lag, and you're able to go right back into the swings. The timing is a little bit precise, but it looks like Jax is doing a pretty good job of getting it and beating that enemy really quickly.
That's probably the easiest fight in the arena. It's really consistent. Even if you like clink a hit, it's really easy to back up. So we are going to be doing the full arena here in order to get some money. We'll explain exactly what we're getting all these Neopoints for a bit later. But now we're going to do the sludgy fight. He's literally a pile of poop and acts like one too. He's a bit random, so what I'm looking for is I'm going to go for a 3-hit combo. And then he's going to do the overhead, and then I angled myself correctly. Okay, he did another overhead. Oh wow, he's really going ham on the overheads. The overhead applies a freeze effect. We want him to do the haymaker. Okay, we got him. Not a great fight, but we'll take it. So
there's a couple other enemies in the run that are going to be applying effects like that freeze effect. There's a kind of like a darkness effect that affects your damage. And the best way to actually get rid of those is to do the drown warp. So like what you saw before, jumping into the water will get rid of those effects. So you may see that a little bit later in the run.
Yeah, it depends on the money, because we're going to be trying to look ourselves into some money, which could let us get some cool consumables for later. But this is the Skeleton Warrior, who's kind of like a mid to late game enemy, but he's a giant pushover. Also, nice leaf moat count. So do you want to explain like the moat consumable system real quick? I'll do this last fight.
Yeah, so applying a moat to your shield or your sword will use it up a little bit, except for certain bosses. It won't actually use up any of your moat. So that's going to be pretty key on some of the larger bosses that we fight later on in the run. Also, it should be noted that we're going to skip a lot of the bosses in this run.
Like I said, it's off to a pretty calm start, even though we literally skipped the tutorial. So just a quick note, I don't go for shield cancels for that reason. If I'm not careful, oh gosh. Okay, we got him.
Ooh, that was a little scary.
Yeah, all right, we got him. You don't want to die there. That's you won't like game over or anything, but it just loses you time and you have to restart the fight. All right, so we're gonna go for an NPC boost off the green dragon here. Good. Now, which villagers we get in Meridell here is kind of random. We're hoping for 2. And the cool thing, okay, I see 1. Yeah, we only got 1, so we got a bit unlucky. There's a white loop, the same Neopet creature that I'm piloting right now, who can also spawn in sometimes. But Ulfric the Black Dragon always spawns in. Shut up,
excuse me, that's a Drake.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
If we're going to be consistent with the Neopets lore, we need to use their correct Neopet species names. Which,
yeah, that's
by the way,
fair, but isn't this also a Zelda game?
That is true. But we're having a lot of awesome Neopets discussion in the chat.
Excellent.
If this run goes wrong, which hopefully it won't, but it might, I've got a list of a couple different Neopets puns queued up and ready to go. But if y'all want to drop your best Neopets puns in the chat,
yeah, drop them in chat or in donations. That would be awesome. So we're gonna do a huge sequence break now. We're in a place called Draken Ridge. Let me see if I hit this real quick. Okay, so Cronin, can you explain what I'm doing here?
Okay, yeah. So this is what's called a water walk. that is insane. Okay, so basically, Jax was doing a down slash and getting a frame perfect input to clip through the death plane over the water, and so since he clipped through it, now he can just walk on water, and now walk out of bounds. And so we're going to be using this to skip literally 2 hours of game.
Yeah. And it's not because of the area we're going to, but the upgrade that we're gonna get there. So in order to get there, it's a little bit complicated, and we'll explain why it's so complicated. We're gonna actually intentionally load in certain areas so that we can avoid getting certain upwarps that would launch us into water or kill planes. So let's see if I get this one. Okay, we got it first try. That one's really scary. If you don't line it up correctly, you'll get a water drown warp, and I would have to do the frame perfect trick again. But what we're doing with this sequence break is normally you're supposed to access the Draken Ridge area during the Squire sequence, which is where you go into Meridell Castle, you become a Squire, eventually become a Knight, and then you go to Draken Ridge in Act 1 and like protect the villagers and stuff. But there's another sequence in Act 3 where they all get kidnapped, kind of like the Gorons in Goron City, which honestly is actually kind of a hysterical comparison, but it's pretty accurate. So you're not able to access that area until Act 3, and there's 4 acts in the game, so you're not able to access that for a fairly long time. But using this out of bounds trick, we're going to be able to access the mines, which is the area where you end up saving those villagers. So I'm using the map as a guide to figure out where Tor is out of bounds. It's actually kind of accurate to an extent to what's loaded in up there. So I'm trying to keep track of where I am to make sure I don't up warp into that river canyon that's up there. So now I'm going to go straight forward. You're going to see that unload. That's good. That's what we want. And then I'm going to walk to a very specific spot here. And then once I'm right here, I open the map. You're going to see the game pause here for a bit because it's thinking really hard right now where I am. And that will load another area, and then I'll become a shiny Neopet. And so I did another upwarp there to load in the mines. And so that black square right there is the entrance to the mines. So doing that upwarp right there actually allows us to skip having to take the elevator down to the mines in the... Oh gosh, where am I? Oh no, this isn't good. Oh, frick. Wait, I'm still out of bounds. Okay, we're good. Oh, that was really close. I didn't know where I was there. Okay, so I jump right here, and then I get an upwarp into the mines. There we go.
What a really save, dude.
And I'm gonna take a safety save here for marathon safety, just in case I end up dying here, because that is a potential possibility. Okay, that's not a good drop. So we're breaking open that pink crystal and another one coming up for rare drops. What we're looking for, actually, before I explain that, I'm gonna go for a really precise smoke grab here, and I got it really quick. That one is partially embedded into the grate there, so you have to do a really specific turn and jump in order to grab the moat before the game thinks you're grounded long enough to activate the text boxes. So that was cool. Anyway, we're looking for these pink crystals while we're running through the mines here for a couple of different things. We're looking for some speed potions, which are rare drops, but we'll talk about those later. We would also like to see money and or moats would be nice drops as well. Those pink crystals give you access to some of your stuff, so... we did get a rare potion drop there, but it wasn't one that's useful to our speed run. I think it's it restores your magic meter to max. Wow, we got 2 of the same bad potion. Wow, thanks game.
That's probably the worst RNG you could have gotten.
Yeah, that's really bad. Didn't even get like a silver. Like if you get money from one of those crystals, you usually get at least 500, which allows you to buy a speed potion later. But anyway, I'm running really close to the right wall here to keep that good boy from waking up, because he gets really angry if you stand too close to his zone, and then he just chases after you, and it's a really bad time if you're trying to avoid some minecarts. Speaking of which, these minecarts are really bad at being physical objects. You can either walk right to the... Suggestion. Yeah, you can either... They do have hitboxes that damage you, and you can deboost off of them. But why bother when you can just jump straight through them, you know? Oop.
Yeah, the hitbox is very, very low on the actual track, so just jumping at all will mean that you don't get hit.
All right, so we're going into the boss here, the Ixie Chief. Now, this boss is an Act 3 boss, but we're going to destroy him with the second worst sword in the game because he's really easy for no good reason. I'm going to be attempting to use shield cancels to set up for stun lock. So let me focus here. Okay, there we go. I didn't get too many of, you want to try to stun lock him so he doesn't jump up in the air, because then it takes a couple seconds for him to come down. That wasn't too bad of a fight. We killed him, so that's all I'm really worried about. Again, the leaf moat coming in to help there in order to deal some extra elemental damage, because I think all Ixie are weak to the earth moats.
I believe so. Also, since we're here, we're about to be saving the mayor of the village of all the people who got captured. We don't need to capture any of the other villagers, just the mayor, and then the game assumes that, you know, everybody's fine.
Yeah, I don't know how they missed that one. Because it's really not that hard to run on the rails and just jump over the minecarts. I think they actually intended for the minecarts to have full collision, but as you'll come to see later, this game, there's evidence that this game never really got finished. But that was a really clean mines in general. Nothing like crazy, but nothing disastrous, which is all I can ask for. So we're going to be backtracking back to the village that we circled around from Out of Bounds. And there's actually 2 free motes here that are what are called Nova motes. If we're using the Pokemon analogy again, think of like the shadow Pokemon from Pokemon XD. They're super effective against every type of Pokemon, but they're also resistant against every kind. So we're gonna be with a healthy dose of strats. We're gonna try to be holding on to both of them for the rest of the run.
So we have some donations to read. We have a 200-bit donation from Olden, and we have a 5-bit donation from Cube King. Jax and the Neopets is my new favorite band. We also have a couple donations. A $1 donation from Lori D. Bennykins, a toast to Bruce the Penguin, and a $5 donation from Olden. Hey, this game was my childhood, so I'm super excited to see the run. Thank you so much for this event, and happy Pride Month, everybody. Happy Pride Month, everybody.
Yay! Shout out Ace Gang. Thank you for your donations, everybody. It means a lot. So we're gonna get the real reason we even came up here in the first place was to get an item called the Cloak of Heroes. And as we said earlier, this will actually end up saving us about 2 or 3 hours off of the speedrun over the course of this. But we're gonna make a quick pit stop here to grab some red Jupies. These restore a small amount of health, so we're gonna grab around 32 or so. Just not only for marathon safety, but they're pretty necessary. Okay, I missed a NPC boost there. Sometimes you can wander too far to the left. So I'm gonna go ahead and equip the Supernova mote. So there's actually 2 different tiers of motes in this game. There's the regular version, and then there's a stronger version. Each mote has its own different spell effect, so that if you hold down the attack button, you'll charge up a swing or a spell with the other character, who we'll briefly mention later when she shows up. But they unleash like special attacks that use some of your magic meter, which is the blue bar. In addition to the different tiers of motes having different spell effects, and usually the higher tier ones having better ones, they also increase the amount of elemental damage you do too. So, and like I said, the Nova motes are super effective against all the Pokemons, so having a Supernova mote is really good. And they can also rarely drop from certain enemies too. So if we get another one, that's like really, really good. So I'm hoping. But right now, now that we have the cloak, we're gonna next head to Illison's Glade. So like I said earlier, we're gonna be ending up skipping the whole quest where you become a squire, if you remember from playing that casually. So after, if I take this water warp here, it'll actually put me right near the road that takes us towards Illison's Glade. And then let's see what NPC I get. Okay, I got Blue Guy. That's usually the, oh wow, I am whiffing on these NPC boosts today. I'll chalk it off to marathon nerves. So we're gonna be running up the hill here, and Cronin, do you want to actually, we'll leave this real quick. Never mind, I'll explain the combat strafing stuff after Illison's Glade, because that's more important then. So I'm gonna take another water warp here. Again, all these water warps really just save on movement. And then we just gonna grab this water mote. We need one of each element mote, not including the Nova motes, in order to complete a puzzle at the very end of the game. So we're gonna be grabbing the most, the motes that are most within our path here. And now we're just gonna be heading up the road to Illison's Glade here.
So right now we're about to see a really interesting trick. We're gonna have to do it because this bridge builder is supposed to be finishing up this bridge at the end of Act 1, I believe.
Yes.
And because we're still in the middle of Act 1, we can't take this road the intended way. But instead, we can jump on this ledge, equip the cloak, and
just hover through the air. And the reason why so we don't really know why the hover works. It's you essentially jump. I take out my sword, which immediately decloaks me, and then I also jump. So the game thinks I'm trying to grab the ledge, but I also end up in the air because of some weird bugs with the cloak. So you just hover through the air while grabbing nothing. The reason why it clips you through walls is that the game disables wall collision while you have it active, so that Tor doesn't get stuck on walls when he's ledge grabbing. That's the reason why you clip through walls. And then right here, I do another upwarp, and normally when you're in Illisen's Glade, you actually have to save all the knights that get captured by the wereloops. But by doing that upwarp, it actually teleports us straight to the top, so we don't have to take the elevator up here. I think the knights failed to load in here anyway, so I think it's still required to do it. But yeah, now we're at the treetops of Illisen's Glade, and we're gonna get ready to do a boss fight up here. But we actually have to backtrack a little here first. And the reason why is that because of the way we got up here, we missed a crucial event trigger that will cause the cutscene with the boss not to spawn in correctly. So I have to stand right about there, and that will cause the cutscene to load in properly. So we're gonna be walking our way over here. Freya's, if you have like any quick messages, maybe like one or two, now would be a good time.
Yes, so we have a $10 donation from Mint. Good luck with the runs, everybody. Be excellent. Thank you so much for your donations.
Thank you for the good luck. All right, it's also really funny to note here that the wereloops are kind of stupid. In addition to having really funny idle animations, they just don't even notice me when I walk by.
They're trying their best, okay?
He actually shot me, so good job, dude. All right, so we're just about to come up on the Narfus fight. And this fight is really kind of, it's a little bit tricky. So I don't need too much focus time, but I'm gonna have Corundum explain exactly what I'm doing here.
Yeah, so this is Narfus. Like we said earlier, certain bosses aren't going to use up our moat, so you're not going to see the number over in the corner go down as soon as everything is done loading. But basically, Narfus is going to do an attack where he's going to swing those chains in just a moment.
He procced that cutscene really early. That's rare.
That was a little strange. But yeah, you're gonna see him kind of swinging the chains back and forth, and as soon as that animation is done, Jax is gonna go in for an attack, and we're hoping that he doesn't jump up into the trees, because that takes a lot of time. But if we can, so far he seems to be cooperating pretty well.
If you hit him at the right time, you can cancel his jump animation before he launches. All right, there we go. Not bad.
Yeah, he kind of behaved. Only one jump, so that's good.
Yeah, that was more my positioning error on my fault. Because what ended up happening is I clanked against the invisible wall, and that caused me to drop the combo. So doing that right there actually causes the game to update our story progress to the end of Act 1. So what that game means is the game thinks we've already become a knight and all that stuff. So doing that fight now essentially skips the entire Squire sequence, which probably saves about a half an hour, maybe more. What do you think? It's a significant time save.
I would say, yeah, probably like 40 minutes. That's also why in that cutscene you saw Tor wearing the knight armor, even though we never actually got it.
The game just assumes that we have it.
Exactly.
All right, so we're going to be doing the first of 3 mandatory save and quits. So after certain pivotal cutscenes, for whatever reason, it affects the way that you're able to do ledge flying, and sometimes just outright cancels your ability to do it. So we're doing a save and reset here in order to restore our ability to ledge fly properly. So you guys are y'all are gonna get to experience some PS2 ASMR load up sounds. But Freya's, this would be another good time for a couple of messages, if you got any.
Unfortunately, we don't have any donations right now, but we are at $3,100, and if everybody donated $5, we could get to $4,000.
Yeah, if we could get to 4K by the end of the run, that would be insane.
And last time we got to 17,000, so we're hoping to get to 20,000 this time. And we believe that we are on pace so far. The next donation incentives coming up are the name for a Crystallis randomizer and the name for a Pokemon. So get your donations in for those incentives.
Not to be confused with my Neopet. Although if you want,
$26 is all you need to choose a name for someone.
And if you want to name one of the Pokemon after this character, his name is Tor. They decided to name him after one of the most unknown browsers in like internet history. So go for it. So anyway, we're gonna be doing another ledge fly here because the bridge is still broken. So we're gonna be doing a ledge fly here. All right, we got a first try. That one could be a little bit tricky. So with ledge flies, the angle that you perform the ledge fly at, as well as your distance from the ledge, can affect the angle at which you do the ledge fly. So I stepped a little bit away from the ledge and did it at a diagonal in order to get a lower angle ledge fly in order to grab an invisible ledge. And that lets me get out of bounds here. And this is the river that we walked by earlier. So if I just walk up here, it's gonna let me water warp. And then I can do another water warp to escape the clover-shaped interchange to get out of here. So if we really want, well, actually, so as an interesting side effect of what we did, because the game thinks we've already become a knight, we never actually opened up Meridell Castle correctly. So as a result, we basically soft blocked ourselves at a Meridell Castle now. So we're gonna have to find another way to get in there because that's where we need to go to end Act 1, right? So in order to fix that, we are gonna be heading to another area in Act 3 much earlier than we're intended to be. So there's another broken bridge that doesn't get rebuilt until a decent chunk of the way into Act 3. But we're gonna be skipping it with another ledge fly here. Let me just set up for this real quick. Looks good. Oh, that was a weird angle. Oh, I didn't get a ledge grab. Thanks, game.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
So right now we have had one donation, $5 from Monster 860. Save the animals, specifically the one in Act 2, please. Do it.
Yo, shout out to Monster. He's one of the few homies I have in the totally overflowing Neopets community, as you all might have guessed. Y'all should come run this game with me, by the way. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, so there are some dialogue triggers there. Normally, this is when you get to Act 3 and reunite with the other playable character, it'll show some dialogue boxes there saying how to switch characters. So I actually choose to jump through them because when Tor's in a text box or cutscene dialogue, he'll maintain his momentum in the air, so it allows me to save a little bit of speed. But right now I'm doing a weird angled walk right now. Chrono, do you want to explain what I'm doing?
Yeah, so like we said, kind of similar to the NPC boost where you hold L2, which is kind of like a combat strafe. Jax is holding L2 in order to basically holding L2 stops you from doing the auto jump mechanic that we stole from Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
And so there's all these little bumps on the road that we would just be trying to do auto hops over, or doing drops off of decreases in elevation. You wouldn't have to watch the animation for that because you kind of just drop directly off of the ledge. So it saves a couple frames every single time we have like a quick shift in elevation, so it saves a couple seconds over the course of the run. But it's also got a really weird angle just off of the dead zone on the analog stick that is really annoying to hold.
Yeah, that's why we like I said, this game is a budget Zelda speedrun, so we call that one holding ESS. But I just did a really precise ledge fly there. The angle that you have to hit for that is really tight, and then you have a bunch of enemies trying to hurt you. There's normally an invisible wall that prevents you from reaching Castletown until you've done another Act 3 boss in an area called Bugmuck, I believe. So doing that ledge fly lets us circumvent the invisible wall. And now I'm going to be going into a series of fights against some Dark Nuts. So I'm going to let Random Core explain what's going on. Oop.
Yeah, so Jax really has to focus here, so that thump you just heard was him taking off his headphones. Basically, these bosses, or not bosses, but these enemies, the Dark Knights, can deal a lot of damage really quickly. Like, they have a kind of thrust attack that can deal half of Jax's health bar in one attack. So he's got to really make sure that they don't gang up on him here. He's going to try and get one of them over in between the wall and the tree right here. Unfortunately, he's got both right now, so he's going to have to try and pay attention to both of their attacks. So far, they're being pretty nice. He's going to be doing jump slashes because it's the safest option for an attack to use. You just saw the one on the left do a thrust attack. Luckily, it missed Jax, or else it would have done a lot of damage. If he dies here, it wastes about 8 minutes because it goes all the way back to the save and quit that we did before. All right, so far this fight's going a little slowly, but we're not getting hit a bunch. I'm getting some money, which is an okay drop here. Ideally, we'd get another Nova mote, but that's a pretty low drop rate. He's also trying to stand a little bit off to the side of the Dark Knight for those kick attacks, because those launch you back a decent amount. Wow, this Dark Knight is really not cooperating.
Oh, nice.
All right, okay. Finally got it. Oh, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. So money is a really good drop to get there, because it's gonna let us buy some consumables that we'll talk about after this segment. But now I'm gonna be swapping over to the Supernova mode, just because to avoid having the menu in a more dangerous segment of the run. We're gonna be using it for the boss of the Forest Temple coming up here. Okay, so he's right there, so I intentionally shield to knock him back and avoid taking damage. I'm about halfway through my health items, so that's totally fine. We're doing pretty decent on those consumables. So I'm gonna go for Ledge Fly here. That only saves a second, but it looks really swag if I hit it. So of course we have to go for it. Got it. Okay. And then you've probably already seen me do this. But jumping up ladders is faster than actually climbing them. But on vines, you can't actually jump without getting like a flinching animation, so you're not going to see me do it there.
So we're going to be going for a couple kind of quick ledge flies, because there's these enemies that are walking around and can attack us on the ledges. So we're really hoping that they, one, stay away, and two, we get these ledge flies quickly.
Yeah, I'm looking for a down-angled ledge fly here. And we got it. Oh, we got the good angle too. All right, great. So that's the tricky one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, crap. Okay, I went for a crazy strat. Sorry.
Basically, you can save like what, half a second by grabbing onto the ledge.
I'm not going for it anymore.
Okay. Yeah, just climb the.
I learned my lesson.
If you get it first try, you save the animation for getting off the top of the ladder like that, but definitely doesn't save time when you miss it twice.
Gotta go for marathon swag. So I'm gonna run straight forward. Hopefully he doesn't annoy me. All right, he whiffed. Good job, buddy. So now, so doing that ledge fly actually lets us skip some of the early atrium areas in the Forest Temple here. So we're gonna be, we're in like the main area now. Luckily for us, we don't have to fight any ghost sisters or anything. That was a weird angle damage boost. We just have to avoid some dark notes here on the way. Taking deboosts as we must. So I'm gonna be jumping off this crate here. You're normally supposed to push it. Oh, he was in the wall. What a sucker. And you can literally just jump off of it with a certain timing, and you'll just climb up the ledge. It's not too hard, but if you're not careful, you'll flub the jump. So on our climb up here, I'm going to do an auto jump, because if you do like a jump with the X button, it forces Tort into a ledge grab, and that's pretty bad. And then right here, you see me do this a bunch already before, but I'll just point it out. On a lot of these balance beam type sections, I'm going to be jumping in order to avoid the slow balancing animation. And now we got to go up the stairs, and we'll be headed into the boss arena. Upstairs this time instead of downstairs like in the Ocarina of Time's Forest Temple, but don't worry about it. So this is the Black Knight fight. I'm going to be taking off my headphones, and I'm going to let Chronom Core explain this fight because it's pretty difficult.
Yeah, so this is another very difficult fight that Jax is going to be doing. So like I said before, you use up your moat, or you don't use up your moat when attacking enemies, but the Black Knight has this armor on, and the only place that'll actually conserve moat is specific parts of his body. And so Jax is wanting to keep his moat and not lose any of it, so he's got to go for very precise jump slashes. Also, the Black Knight deals a bunch of damage, and we've got, I think, the worst armor in the game right now, so taking even a single hit can be really detrimental.
We have a few more.
Go ahead.
We have a few more donations. We have a $52 donation from Dr. Doss. I still can't believe there's a Neopets game on the PS2. I'm gonna miss a lot of fun runs because of work this weekend, but I'm excited to be able to see this one. $867 from Foopoof.
Holy cow!
Pride weekend again. One of my favorite weekends of the year. Excited for some of the good games. Also, did somebody say 4K? And we have with that donation, we have reached 4K.
Oh my gosh!
Which
thank
is
you
absolutely
so much,
amazing.
everybody. Oh, thank you so much.
And there was one more donation.
Go for it.
A $10 donation from Prime Pendantry. 19 years ago, Neopets said gay rights when they released the rainbow paintbrush. Thank you everybody so much for your donations. And
holy cow.
We have reached 4K.
Y'all raised like 900, and we're not even halfway through the run. Let's keep pushing. Thank you so much.
Next goal, 5K.
Yeah, let's do it, everybody. All right, so a couple of things to remark. I basically got a perfect Black Knight fight. So thank you everyone in the stream for giving me the energy. That went basically perfect. And I also did another ledge fly back through the same wall we did earlier in order to skip a bunch of backtracking through the castle. So the reason we do this fight at all is these villagers, the Kokiri Forest villagers have been getting plagued by Mido's incredibly awful tax policies. So they asked us to do a hit job on the Black Knight in order to eliminate that threat and install probably a political coup of some time. I don't really know. We mostly skip that part. But as a reward, we get the guild's entire treasure, like all of it. They just give it to us all. So that's great. We're gonna need that for later, and we'll explain why. But we're gonna go to this potion shop, and I'm gonna hold on a second. Buy a bunch of these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're gonna have to buy another potion later. Once we get to Fairyland in Act 3. But Chronom, do you want to explain what these things are?
Yeah, so these are the Mirka speed potions, which basically double your running speed. As you can see, you're going ridiculously fast, running through the 90s, and yeah, it's going to allow us to go really, really fast. It's kind of a risk-reward kind of deal, because it allows us to go really fast in just normal movement. Saves about 40 seconds each time we use a potion, but it also makes it way harder to set up for ledge flies. So you kind of have to strategically plan when you're going to be using them.
Oh my gosh, I hit that first try.
That is insane.
So not only is that ledge fly really hard in general, but it's even harder with the potion. So I'm really happy I got that. Additionally, the reason we have to do that is the invisible wall that blocked us from getting to Castletown before is still there. So I had to do another ledge fly to get past it. Also, the diagonal strafing movement is much more difficult with the effects of the potion, because if you're not holding the angle correctly, you're losing a lot more potential speed. So my potion should run up about now. So I'm gonna keep doing that Tokyo Drift. Good. And then I'm gonna Tokyo Drift up the hill here. There's some thieves up here too. So, all right, we're good. So I should mention that when I'm doing the strafe walking, I'm doing all my turns with the right analog stick, and the camera controls are kind of spotty sometimes. So the fact that I'm able to, oh gosh, I took a fall. Okay, so like we said earlier, I tried to save some of my Mirka speed potion there because we ended up having enough money for an extra. So I try to conserve it by doing a ledge fly over the water, but when you take a drown, it actually removes any buffs or debuffs that you have. Unfortunately, that removes the speed buff that we had, but luckily we have some more potions, so it's not really a big deal. It would suck a bit more if I were doing like a PB attempt, but even then, this run is still pretty clean.
Yeah, especially with that Black Knight fight going basically perfectly.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that honestly golded. That was really good. So to give you all an idea of, oh wow, the camera just flipped on me. Thanks, game. So I'm gonna swap to the cloak here. The reason why is that, so like I said earlier, the way to get back into the castle was blocked off because we never opened it originally. So what we have to do is normally in Act 3, and we'll be doing this in Act 3 as well, you have to go through some sewers and crypts in order to eventually end up in the castle prison. And from there, you can get back into the castle to do battle with, okay, so I have to pay him 1,000 Neopoints, which is also why we need so much money to even be able to get here. And because we have the cloak and the guild's treasure, which we need to give to the thieves, we can now access this area. So that's why we had to go get the guild treasure, because they're like, you can't be a thief until you pull off the biggest heist of all time. You know, it's like the old episode 1 of SpongeBob, find the golden like the very special spatula or whatever. It's one of those kind of things. Anyway, so I'm gonna be taking a safety save because this next series of tricks can soft lock me. I'm gonna set up for this ledge fly and then kind of have Grundencore explain exactly what's going on here.
Yeah, sure thing. Hopefully we can get this ledge fly kind of quickly.
Ain't gonna work.
All right.
I don't know why I went for that.
But yeah, another thing to mention is we'd be going to like the intended purpose of the cloak is to be able to sneak past enemies and also get into this area. It just is also completely coincidental that it allows us to use the broken ledge fly. So we would need to be grabbing it to get into this area at some point anyways, which is why it saves so much time to go ahead and get it now.
Yeah.
When we did. Okay,
and on top of that, so this, I'll explain. So we're doing another series of level loading in order to spawn in a very specific section of the crypts. 1003, 1004, 1005. Stop. So I'm stopping right here to let another part of the level load in. There it is. And then I'm gonna run around here, and then this is gonna load in, and I'm gonna walk forward. I'm gonna upward, and then give it a couple seconds. And now this lower part of the crypts loads in. That essentially skips all of the crypts and the sewers and the spider cave that you normally do here casually, which skips having to go to Bugmuck, and it also skips having to get the rope gun from saving your family. So there's normally a fight that occurs here against some really powerful enemies, but if we do a ledge fly out here, there's a failsafe that the game has that automatically activates the cutscene right here and allows us to get the Master Sword for free.
Yeah, basically if you move too far away from any of the bosses, they just kind of despawn, so it helps.
Okay, so I equipped the Jupies there just in case to make sure I don't die. And now we're going to be going into probably the most difficult series of glitches and tricks in the entire run called Darkness 1. But before we do that, we're going to be running into our friend Mulgera here. This is normally a boss that you're intended to fight before you confront the Triplet Sisters, who you'll see in a little bit. But luckily the game gives us 2 free Mirka speed potions here and a armor upgrade, which is going to be really helpful later. Because we were starting out with the base armor for basically the entire run up to this point. So what we're, normally when you kill the boss, it creates a platform that you can use to reach that set of treasure over there. But we have a thing called ledge flying, so I'm going to do an intentional ledge grab off that thing that shouldn't be a ledge. Aim about here and ledge fly. Okay, I got a straight angle ledge fly, good. Now I'm holding upright and I'm gonna hit jump. And I got the ledge grab, good. Okay, that ledge fly is really scary. And then what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna grab Fiora's wand and then set up for this ledge fly. And then I'm gonna let Chrono Core take over with explaining exactly what the darkness is. Okay, I got it. Okay, and I'm gonna take off my headset.
Okay, so as soon as Jax gets down off of this piece of collision here, you're going to see the screen go completely black as the camera basically doesn't know what to do. So earlier we mentioned when you're moving out of bounds, you can tell your position by checking on the map, which is super useful here because it's the only way we can tell where we're going. So you can see Jax is kind of moving around and doing two different things right now. He's looking at the position of the R and the E in relation to where his character is. So he's going to move toward down. So hopefully he's going to be kind of on the edge of the inbounds area right now. Let's see. Okay, he is in the water now, so he's upwarped back into the area, and he's having to kill 2 sludgies, and then activate a switch and climb onto an elevator, all completely blind and using audio cues, which is why he took off the headphones that are connected to Discord, and he's only listening to game audio right now. So that's what makes this the most difficult trick in the run, because you're having to do everything completely blind. It is honestly impressive that he can do this at all. So now would be a good time for probably 1 or 2 donations or any messages that you have for us.
We have a $5 donation from Pringle Daddy. $5 for the hype to push for 5K. We have $100 from Devio XS. Trans rights, and everyone is legal. Be cool, y'all. Thank you so much for your donations. This is going straight to the Trevor Project. Amazing cause.
Thank you so much for your donations, everyone. All right, it looks like that's a good sign.
Bro, I think that would have golded. Holy crap, that was really good.
Congrats, dude. That was really clean.
So we'll be going back there and doing that trick again, but with a way to get our visibility back, and we'll better be able to explain exactly what I did there. But for now, the game still thinks we're in Act 1, so instead of doing the Act 3 finish, we're going to trigger Act 1, because we need to go to Act 2 next in order to grab our second character. So what I'm going to be doing is, I popped a potion here. Okay, the dark nuts were nice, and then I have to open this lever. And then, because we're so far ahead, I really wanted to show off this really terrible FMV coming up, so I'm just going to shut up and let the magic happen.
1,000 years, you say? And they completely forgot me. Well, now, that will never do. I suppose I should remedy that. Conquering this fly speck of a kingdom was easy enough, but I need something a little bigger
so
to announce my return. Oh, I know. I'll destroy it completely. That should get their attention. And I know just the weapon to use to flatten the place. 2 birds with 1 stone. Oh, yes.
The lip syncing.
That would do wonderfully.
Now we have a 1,000-bit donation from Island Universe. 4K.
He doesn't.
Thank you so much.
My control.
Thank you.
How unusual.
Thank you so much.
Kill him, but Bruno is left.
I love that
when
one.
you're done.
Kill him.
Of course, dear.
This is a kid's game, by the way.
Faerie has some amusement.
And the most poorly lip-synced gasp I've ever heard from a Pokemon. So what we're going to be doing now is a trick called the Turkish glide, because we're going to be using this ottoman right here. It's a way of doing like the collapse skip. It's our budget version of doing it like Ocarina of Time does it. So I have to position myself just right. Oh, you're in a really bad spot, man. Could you please move? Oh, I still got the ledge fly anyway. Are you joking? Holy cow.
Incredible.
So, when you're in strafe mode, he'll kind of point towards one of those fairies, if he's close enough, or if they're close enough. So the fact that I still got a high enough angle ledge fly to get the Turkish fly is really good. So I think even with the cutscene, I still save time over PB there, which is hysterical. So now we are in Act 2. We are in Fairyland, and we're taking control of our second character in the game, Roberta. And what type of Neopet did you say she was? I forget.
I believe she's an Akara. It's weird because they made a lot of the Neopets in the game bipedal for the Darkest Faerie, so it can be a little bit difficult to tell what's what. So if somebody in the chat can tell what type of Neopet Roberta is better than I can, that would be great.
Yeah. So normally in this act, we're supposed to follow Saradar, the mage, whose name was probably lifted out of one of the Lord of the Rings books. And we forgot our training wand at home. This character is a magician, also canonically trans, and we have to basically make one from scratch because we have nothing better to work with here. So normally the game expects us to go talk to Saradar and then find all this stuff, but it turns out all the stuff is still here anyway. So we're just grabbing it here first because it's just a more direct path. So,
also looking for a lucky drop of a speed potion at some point. Hopefully we get one. They're like over on the table there, right?
Yeah, it's a shop. So
oh, okay.
As opposed to Tor, who's literally a peasant, Roberta's got deep pockets because she's the nephew of the Brightvale King, or whatever that's supposed to mean, canonically speaking. So she starts out with like a little over 1k Neo points. So that's gonna allow us to buy 2 potions of Mirka speed for this segment of the run. So there's this old lady we have to chat up real quick, and then we're gonna go buy her Zumi potions, but we're not gonna use them quite yet. Because there's a couple of segments of jumping, and jumping while you have a speed buff active is really bad and it slows you down. So we're going to be avoiding that for a bit here.
What a walking animation, by the way.
Oh, from Roberta?
No, from the old lady during that cutscene.
Yeah. She just ambles. So like we said at the beginning of the run, we need one of each element mote in order to complete a puzzle. There happens to be a light mote here, and when the 2 characters eventually reunite, their motes and their inventories will combine. So anything that we get with Roberta will carry over to the combined inventory. So we're gonna get a couple of motes with Roberta here. And then I'm going to go ahead and menu to the fire mote because we're going to need it. And then I hit a very tricky NPC boost there. But if I jumped at the end of it, I would have gone flying past Saradar. So Roberta's a magician. And so now now we're learning how to be a magician, I guess. So this book likes to be a jerk, so hopefully the book is nice.
Should mention that all of this is auto-targeting. Jax isn't just some god that can hit anything from any direction. The game kind of does it for you, but that also means that sometimes it'll target the wrong things. Like sometimes it'll just target this NPC over to the left, and that's not
nice. Or the wall.
Or the wall, yeah.
And so we get a free armor upgrade there, and then we do some diplomacy with the Fairy Queen lady. She's pretty great. Normally I don't pop the potion this early, but I actually kind of feel like experimenting. So we're gonna do it now. Oh, actually that works great. So I'm gonna do that in runs now.
Didn't I say not to try random things in Marathon?
It's just the Mircus. It's not like I'm gonna go for new ledge fly here. Oops, I soft locked the game. My bad. But they're giving us free room and board at the Fairyland Hotel here. So we're gonna go to our room and take a cat nap. I'm gonna be going to the right specifically to avoid the bellboy from telling us exactly where our room is, but it doesn't really matter because, well, we already know where we're going. Ideally, I don't take the wrong turn this time. So it's this way, and then there we go. And then gonna grab this moat, and then after I decide to go asleep, Roberta's gonna keep going for a jog, and that's gonna put me through the door. And now the Darkest Faerie is gonna wow, I missed the door by a mile. And so now we're gonna dip. So now there's monsters attacking us and stuff, and the old lady who was so kindly ambling has been is now being imprisoned and probably tortured. Yes, this is a kid's game. Oh, I try to be cool. Anyway, so our potion ran out really early, which is good because we want it to run out before we do this jumping. So that was actually a perfectly placed potion. So yeah, I'm gonna start doing that in runs. So we need to see this cutscene to see things that should never be seen by children. And now we're gonna go look for a way to distract the Darkest Faerie in order to try and save her. So now would be a really good time for just one quick. Well, actually, never mind. We probably don't have time. It's just a quick walk over to the clock tower. So they even ripped off Castlevania. This game has a clock tower area too. We're gonna be using it as a way to distract. It's not a platforming area. It's just a little puzzle segment here. We're supposed to make a noise that carries. So I'm just gonna yeet Roberta off the ledge here and then activate these pulleys. We're gonna do a cool little piece of tech here where if you're alternating between up and upright, it will cancel and reactivate the initial push animation, which causes it to go through, not only through walls, but also just forward faster. And also there's a cute little lion boy there, and I just thought I would point him out. So yeah, this act is relatively chill. There's not too much going on in the way of tech because the inventories between the characters are still separated, so we don't have access to the Cloak of Heroes, unfortunately. And even then, it probably wouldn't be too useful in this act. We don't even use it when we return here in Act 3. So we're gonna jump through this gear that doesn't have collision. And Roberta's been putting some weightlifting in behind the scenes. So she's gonna lift this giant thing. I don't even know what it's called. And then I'm gonna try to angle correctly and run up the stairs during the cutscene. Hopefully I got it. I probably flubbed it. I usually do. But that's okay. My gold doesn't have it. Oh, I got up the stairs. Nice.
Nice.
Big gaming. It's also really hard to have good movement up these stairs because you need to be strafe walking up here, and the turns are really tight. So that was really clean. And now, we need. We're gonna go talk to the old lady, and she's gonna tell us that all heck is breaking loose, and we need to find our way out of here, and that we're one of two Truzen. That's a word that is not in the English dictionary. So now we're going to try to find an escape route. So we're going to start by the way we came in. The game forces us to do this. We know the correct way to get out of here, but the game is mean and we're forced to go this way. That's not a big deal though, because we have the potion of miracle speed. So I'm going to hit the cutscene and then do a complete 180, and that'll put me through the door and get me going through a little bit faster here. And then I'm going to switch to red jupies just as a safety precaution. I shouldn't be taking hits here, ideally, but you never know. Oh, I dodged him. So the blue enemies that shoot projectiles at you have a ability to apply like that, a slow debuff, and I literally went to the wrong area, which is why I got hit. So that's the slow debuff. Unfortunately, there's no bodies of water that we could use to cancel it. So you're gonna see me jumping in midair because it's actually slightly faster. than the grounded in it animation. So hopefully I don't get sniped again. Not a big deal. It's a marathon run, and I will probably save around 20 seconds on my PB on the split anyway. So, who cares? So what we're doing is we're doing like a little puzzle segment. It's supposed to be a staircase that kind of like, I don't know if they ripped off like flute powder from Harry Potter. There's some joke in there. But it's supposed to take you anywhere. If you complete the puzzle, which is literally just follow the direction that the hand is pointing.
It took me so long to figure this out as a kid.
I know, me too. Really well communicated. I accidentally skipped the dialogue when I was a kid, so I didn't know how to complete it. All right, so the debuff wore off, which is good. Oh, wait, no, I go up first. And then we go down. And this supposedly allows you to go anywhere in the Neopets universe, but only lets you go between the library and that upstairs area. It's kind of hysterical. So now we're out of here, and as soon as we get through this door, we're gonna finish up Act 3. Yay! And then side flip for swag. Oh, I got the forward side flip. All right, that's Act 2. Hooray! So Roberta escaped. Yeah, go for it.
Oh, you go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh man, that's so nice of you. Thank you. So now we're in Act 3, which means that Tor and Roberta are going to meet up, and it's going to make things a lot nicer for a couple different reasons. Like Jack said earlier, their inventories are shared in Act 3, so all the nice stuff that we got with Roberta, we're going to have access to with Tor. We also have access to the cloak again, so we're going to be able to do ledge flies. We're also doing a save and quit here so that we can reset those ledge flies, and we're going to be going into doing the darkness again, but it's going to be way easier this time.
Yeah, we'll explain how that works. But right now, they start off this act with a series of fights on the beach in order to teach you how to switch between characters. But because we broke the game so hard, they don't spawn in. And on top of that, it would be slow to kill them anyway. So what we're going to be doing instead is a rather precise ledge fly in order to clip through one of the walls on the beach shore. I'm going to be trying any angle except for an upward angle works. Upward angles probably cause a soft lock. But we want a hopefully a slightly downward angle to initiate a ledge grab through a tree, and that'll get us a really quick ledge grab to where we want to go. So that's the ideal. But easier said than done. It's a really tricky ledge fly. One of the harder ones in the run.
I believe in you.
Excuse me.
First try. It's going to happen.
First try every time. All right, so let me set up here. Okay. So I'm going to get my angle and then, oh, okay. Oh gosh, Tor, what are you doing, buddy? Why are you turning around on me? I don't like it when you do this to me. Please treat me with a little more respect. I'm tapping back and he's walking forward like a giant goofus. All right, let's try this angle. This might be too low. Yeah, it's too low. Okay, let's try this again. All right, Tor, sure. Play like a dummy. Okay, I'm gonna settle for this ledge fly. That's fine.
It should be good enough.
Unfortunately, this puts me a bit farther back out of bounds. So I have to do a little. Oh gosh. Oh, this doesn't look pretty. I'm not stuck.
Oh, wow.
I just have to. I have to get the camera to wrangle itself. Am I stuck? No, I'm not stuck. Am I? Okay, there we go. Right? Wait. Okay, yeah, I got the angle. I got the ledge cap. Okay, cool. Now, where am I? This is a little out of my. Okay, I see where I am now. Okay, cool. So this is where we would have gone if we got the low angle ledge fly. So we're just gonna climb up here, and then there's another ledge up here, and then we go through the wall, and then we're back in bounds. So that was a little slow, but that's okay.
I jinxed you by saying first try. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So I'm gonna play a bit risky here and pop the potion early. Hopefully that doesn't kick me in the butt. We'll try it. I believe we got it. Yes, we got a ledge grab. Okay, we're good. Something we forgot to mention about that bridge is it's really laggy for whatever reason. So getting ledge flies there and even just opening the menu can induce a bunch of lag. So that went pretty well. I also can't hold ESS, which is unfortunate. So in Act 3, the way to Meridel is blocked in every path until you complete all the other quests in Act 3, the main storyline quests. Thanks, game. Really? Nice ledge grab. Tor is mad goofing today. Not too big of a deal. Okay, this is a good angle. So we're gonna do a ledge. Okay, I got the ledge fly angle. Perfect. So I'm doing a ledge fly through here in order to take an out of bounds route to skip, or to basically get past the barrier. So this is our version of barrier skip. It's much less impressive. Still difficult, but no, it's not, you know, pixels and difference of an angle can make it impossible to do. Shoutouts to the Wind Waker HD runners. They're so amazingly talented at that game. But I'm gonna equip the cloak now to reduce some lag later. If I try to equip it like now, it'll cause lag as soon as I load into Meridel. And now Meridel's gonna pop in right here. If I jump. Yep, here we are. And now we're basically gonna backtrack back to the sewers. So now would be a good time for one like donation or message if you have anything.
We have a $10 donation from Jelly Omelet. Something has happened. Congratulations. You just found 10 Neopoints on the floor.
Thank you for your donation. Y'all are super generous tonight. Holy moly. All right, so we're gonna hop back in now, and because we still don't have the rope gun or anything that we get from other parts of Act 3, we have to do the series of level load-ins and stuff. So I am going to take another safety save here just as a precaution, because there is a chance I could soft lock it if I mess up. So I'm being a little bit careful here. But all right, let me set up for this again. So he's going to fall off the ledge, shimmy to the left a bit. Perfect, got it first try. And now he's gonna ledge grab. So usually if you ledge fly too far away from certain areas, the game will force you to ledge grab on some weird surface. So we use that to our advantage to stay out of bounds or not soft lock. Because if there's nothing to stop you, you will ledge fly forever. And in some places you'll just outright crash the game and have to restart your PS2. So I'm gonna be doing the same trick again here, but I don't have the camera flip as a visual cue, so I'm gonna request a little bit of silent time here. All right, and 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,006. Okay, so now I get over here. Nice, okay, we got it. And now I wait here, so this is all kind of the same stuff. Good. Which way are we going? Oh gosh, I'm just lost, right? I just took the wrong one.
You really launched yourself into a weird area. Also, these spirit swords are some of my favorite enemies in the game because they look so ridiculous.
Oh yeah. Okay, I just took the wrong path. I think my camera got flipped, which is why I got a little lost. So we're gonna be heading back to the boss arena here, because we need to get back in the Meridel Castle to finish Act 3 now. So we are gonna be doing the darkness again, but like we said earlier, it's gonna be much simpler, and you'll actually be able to see exactly what I'm doing to get this trick to work. The nice thing is that every time you re-enter this boss arena, and you can, in theory, do this as many times as you want, all of the consumables that appear in the sacks of gold respawn. So we actually get another 2 free sets of Mirka speed potions here, and we are going to be buying one more after we get ready to finish Act 3. So I'm going to focus for this ledge fly real quick. Okay, got the ledge grab. Good. Okay, got the ledge fly. Let's see if we get the jump and ledge grab. Got it. All right, and now we do need to do the ledge fly through this wall here. The wand is still gone because we've already collected it, which is kind of interesting. This ledge fly right here is also way harder than it looks. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the same thing where Tor's gonna disappear and then keep holding up, nice, no camera flip, and then switch characters and then start moving a little bit with Roberta. And now the camera's gonna zoom back in on us, and now I can switch back to Tor. And so now you can kind of see exactly how high up we are. That's the area we just came from, that lava. That's how high we upwarped. So the setup is the same. I'm still lining myself up between the R and the E on the treasure word about here. And then I'm gonna turn around so I'm facing about this way. Okay, that looks perfect. And I'm gonna hold L2 here for safety.
Oh, I forgot to mention during Darkness 1, but kind of you've noticed that the camera sometimes randomly flips. If that happens during the Darkness area, it makes things way harder. So we were lucky that no camera flips happened during Darkness 1.
There's a backup strat where you can reverse your camera direction, but it's not always consistent. So I'm really lucky, I'm just really happy it didn't happen. I'm prepared to save it. It's just, it's really frustrating. But that was a really clean Darkness too. I'm very happy with how that went. I played it a little safe, but not the end of the world, man. All right, so I'm gonna pop another Mirka speed potion, and now what we're gonna be doing is heading up to the top floor of the castle, where I would call them Trirova, but that name sounds really contrived, and we kind of already run the Zelda joke into the ground. So the triplet Faerie sisters are living the high life right now in the King's Chambers, and we gotta go give them a little roughhousing here. But before we do that, we've got a series of enemy encounters coming up here. I'm probably going to take off my headset for this part and have Corundum Core explain what I'm going to be doing. So just give me a moment here to run my way up here. Again, using L2 to avoid some hops up the stairs. All right, and I'm taking off my headset.
Right, so we're just gonna watch this fun little cutscene really quick. All right, so these minion warriors are another one that can be a little bit tricky. They can apply a darkness debuff, which reduces your attack damage. So hopefully that does not happen. Jax is going to keep doing these jump slashes because they're a pretty safe option. They're pretty quick, and they also use up the least amount of the moat when you hit them. And now we've got these minion brutes who can be really not nice. But so far they seem to be cooperating. Alright. This is more of the same, so if we've got time for maybe a couple messages for us.
Yes, so we have a $35 Conundrum Core. I don't mean to have a hissy fit, but I'm not seeing many Neopuns in chat. I don't mean to mincy words, but can you all do better? Let's generate some buzz with some puns and raise money for a great cause. Don't you think you can make a difference with your money? Sure you can. Thank you for that donation, and we hope to see many Neopets puns in chat.
All right, so that was a really good mob encounter. Now I'm gonna let Corundum Core explain the mob fight that's coming, or the boss fight that's coming up here.
All right, yeah. So these are the three sisters that we saw in that excellent, perfectly animated cutscene that we saw before. So the three different sisters are basically they're all going to be attacking at once. Jax is going to be trying to hit them. This is Malice, Spite, and I always forget the third one's name. There's not really much to say other than they can be a little bit annoying, and hopefully they play nice. that's the third one.
Very good fight.
Yeah, that was really clean. They decided to be nice.
Ish. And they also didn't cast slow on me either, which is going to be really good for my movement here. So I'm actually going to switch to Roberta because she's required to solve a puzzle at the end of the act here. And when you switch characters, it actually cancels any buffs you have. So it makes sense for Roberta to be the one using the speed potion here, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to buy this extra Mirror speed potion with the bonus money we got. We'll be using that towards the end here. Good. And now we're just going to be doing some movement through here. So this would be a great time to read some more messages if you got any, Freyas.
We do not have any more donations, but we're at $4,200. 4K.
Holy
gay.
crap.
4 Pride Lion Gay. 4K. All the best rhymes. Even more rhymes to come at 5K.
So I'll have you all know that when I looked at the Twitch stream last, we were sitting at like 3,100 in donations, and now we're like another 1K, and just we're not even done with the run yet. So thank you so much. You all are so generous. Thank you all for donating for this amazing cause. All right, so we're doing some McSpeedy movement. So essentially at this point in the game, I'm gonna pop this now, probably the best time to do it. We're gonna confront the Darkest Faerie, but apparently we're not heroes enough already. The game's just gonna like, the Darkest Faerie is gonna end up capturing Fiora, who's some plot relevant character with magical powers, which we all want to aspire to be in life. All right, so I have to hit this target.
Which, as we mentioned before, it's auto-aiming, so...
yeah, it's auto-aiming on the creature.
That enemy.
Please work. Oh my gosh. What the heck?
Wow, this is ridiculous.
This is weird. Oh, wait. I think it already thinks I hit the buttons. Interesting.
What a great game.
All right, and that is the end of Act 3. All right. So that was a little goofy, but that went really well otherwise. So now we're in Act 4. So this is the part of the game where you have to save Altador. So if you've played Neopets before, you might actually recognize the name of this place. It's the same place, and it's actually a really cool nod to the series as well. But because we're doing an act transition, we are gonna do another save and reset here. So yeah, Act 4 is really kind of funny because there's this really cool series of quests where you have to save Altador. It's been buried beneath the earth, and you have to save him and all that junk. But it turns out, because of ledge flying and the way that this act is built, we're basically gonna skip the entire act. So, like we said, a big reason why the cloak saves around 2 to 3 hours is because of basically making an entire act irrelevant. So yeah, so we had to do another save and reset, like I said, and then we'll be ready to go to start breaking this. But we're gonna be closing in towards the end of the run, so get hyped because we still got a couple of cool strats left.
Should mention that there's 2 really key ledge flies that we're going to be doing here. One skips, would you say, about 45 minutes, and the other skips another like 10, 15?
Yeah, that's about right. Oh gosh, I hit new game.
Oh no!
It doesn't matter. It doesn't overwrite any save files, so this is just time loss, lol.
I mean, we could just start the run over.
Yeah, I mean, we're ahead of schedule.
Do y'all want to see some more Neopets?
All right, there we go. Back to the Hall Heroes now. So at the very beginning of this act, we're going to go to a very specific spot to do our ledge fly. You're going to see me swap to Tor, and then start equipping the light mote, and then menu over to the fire mote. That'll become important in a little bit, and we'll explain why. But I have to set up for a rather precise ledge fly. We are required to get a low angle ledge fly, or else it will actually crash the game. So I'm gonna do a sword strike, and like in Zelda games, you can't fall off the ledge if you're swinging your sword. So I use that as a way to position me to get a low angle ledge fly. And now we're falling into the elevator that you can access after saving Altador. So we just skipped 45 minutes of game, done optimally.
If Jax hadn't done the low angle ledge fly, he would have just gone into the distance. Because when you're ledge flying, all walls are a suggestion, and the only thing that you actually have collision with is the floor. So if you didn't have a low angle, you'd just keep going out into the nothingness.
And not only that, but that specific ledge fly will just very quickly cause a game crash, and I really don't know why. So of course, stealing even more from the Zelda series, the game just can't help itself. We have our own budget version of Trial Skip. So after you save Altador is when you're supposed to become a hero, but you do a ledge fly over here, and we're over by the tunnel, and now we're gonna basically fall into the chamber that you access after you complete all the trials. And so now I'm doing a little puzzle here. Can you explain it, Chronopore?
Yeah, so like we said earlier, we need to collect one of every single mote for this puzzle. So we basically just have to strike each of these little pedestals with the mote of that element. And so you can see that Jax is just kind of quick swapping between the different motes and attacking each of the different pedestals, and it activates this cutscene.
Yeah, you have to very specifically use the R2 attack, or else it will just equip a mote. You can still complete the puzzle if you don't have all the motes. If you try to hit the button without it, it will give you the mote you need, which is kind of nice of the game to do that for you. So you're not screwed if you miss a mote, but at the same time, it's much faster to have collected them all previously. And that's the end of, basic quote-unquote the main end of the main part of Act 4. And now we're going to be heading on to the final boss fight versus the Darkest Faerie, aka Ganondorf. So again, this game tries to rip off the Ganondorf fight from Ocarina of Time. We have to do some Dead Man's volley. So, Cronin, if you want to explain how this fight works.
Yeah, so this is the Darkest Faerie. So like we said before, you can equip motes onto swords or shields. When you equip a mote onto a shield, it reflects the attack of that same element back. Because the Nova mote is all of the different elements, it will reflect anything back. So normally you're supposed to like swap between different motes to reflect all these different types of shots. But with Nova motes, we just don't have to worry about that. It's super nice.
Alright, so I got really unlucky and I got a bunch of monster spawns. So, ow. Stop. Oh, wow, that combo reached from like 1 billion light years away. Thanks, hitboxes. Alright, now it's gonna auto-swap me to Roberta. And now if I get in the right spot... Oh, stop comboing me, game. It'll auto-target straight onto the Darkest Faerie. And that's the boss fight. Okay, good. That could have been really bad. All right, so we defeated the Darkest Faerie, and probably the most anticlimactic boss fight in video game history. And now this part of the game, it's kind of a victory lap. You get to see all of your old pals, and they congratulate you on becoming a true hero. So like they whisk Tor's parents up here and everything. So we need to go over here to activate the cutscene. And time is gonna come up when I lose control of Roberta on this last cutscene. So I'm gonna turn around, and here's Fiora, and get ready on time. And time.
All right.
We did it. I wasn't keeping track. Freya, do you know what my time was?
We owe you many
Yes, the
thanks.
time is said 1 hour
Because of
and
you,
27 minutes and 12
Altador
seconds
is
is your official
Holy
timing.
cow, that's
And
really
Fufu
good.
Safe
I said
from the
that
most
you need to add about 4
pernicious
seconds to that,
influence.
but it's basically the same
Darkest
time.
fairy, if I
Wow, that's really good for a marathon showing.
Don't worry.
Yeah, that's
for
incredible.
Where we can keep
My PB up until recently was a 124, or no, it is a 124. I was thinking of the world record, which is an hour and 22 minutes by Colquill. So yeah, to get a run within 3 minutes of my PB sounds kind of bad, but for how hard this run is to complete, I'm really happy with how that went. So we get a really anticlimactic final cutscene and credits. So yeah, that is Neopets the Darkest Faerie. Before we leave, I'd like to give a couple of shout outs. I said their names already, but shout outs to Colquill, who's currently the world record holder and found basically every strat that you saw me do here except for the Turkish fly. That was like the one thing I found. I'd also like to thank Monster he's probably in the chat, for helping out just with like strats and routing and digging through the game's files. Real homie, awesome human being. And hopefully we'll eventually learn the full any % route. I'd also really like to thank Speedruns Rochester. Thank you all for the support you've given me over the years. I'd like to thank the staff of Power Up with Pride because they put in so much hard work to make this happen. Special thanks to Hupfin for getting me set up and Freya's for being an awesome host. So thank you so much. And I'd just like to give a huge shout out to the Power Up with Pride community in general. When I first started out in this community was Winter Pride 2017. Winter Pride 2017 when I got to show off like a SpongeBob run. And this community has just been really inclusive and kind to me and really welcoming to me. And honestly is probably the reason why I've probably been really able to get out of denial with being ace. So I just want to thank you all so much for letting me be a part of this awesome story and this awesome community. You all mean the most to me. Thank you so much. And for all the crazy donations. I think that's a record for the most amount that's been donated during one of my runs. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for all your donations. Thank you so much for Jackson for the amazing run. Thank you Conundrum Core for the amazing commentary.
Yeah, thank you Corundum too.
Thank you Fufu for the restream. Thank you Hupfin for the setup help. Just thank you everybody so much for putting this event together and everybody who's supporting this. This is just amazing.
It's amazing and it's just a really important way for our community to be stewards to other people who really need it. So it's really important to me that I try to participate, and I encourage you to do the same. Whether it's donating, doing runs, volunteering, or even just posting on Twitter and getting the word out, you all can play a really important part in helping people out. So, all right, I'm done hugging the mic. Thank you all for having me. If you want to follow my exploits, you can find me Jaxer1 on Twitch. But yeah, that's it, folks. We've got Glover coming up next. That is an absolute must-see. You probably have time to catch the restroom, but you do not want to miss the Glover run. It is beyond hysterical. So stick around for that. Keep watching, keep donating. Thank you all for coming by.
GG, and thank you for the amazing run.
No problem.